Hi everyone, hope you're doing well, and please be joined by Tony for a little catch-up on all things West Ham. Tony, how is oneself?
All good, Gio. You okay?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thank you. West Ham season so far, let's break it down. League-wise, 6th in the table at the minute. You all hunky-dory with how things have gone in the league?
Yeah, very good. The performances sometimes haven't been the most exciting, but we've nicked a lot of odd goal victories, which has been really good. Defence has been solid. Normally playing in kind of a low defensive position, hit teams on the break, and the front three, although they're not, we'll talk about that later, probably not fit or away at the moment. Kudus, Bowen and Paquetá have been excellent and always been a threat on their break.
Do you think it's a bit reliant on the front three at times?
Yeah, but we're not the only team that are reliant on a front three. Plenty of other teams are in the same kind of flux. And the way the Premier League is at the moment, I think you see it week in and week out. Teams are playing in the kind of style that we're playing in. I think when we do have a problem, it's when we have to take the game to the opposition rather than hitting the opposition on the break. But generally, I think you've got to say 6. You'd have took this all day long. 6 in the Premier League and with a good points haul.
A couple of impressive wins as well, Man United and Arsenal.
Yeah, good wins. The Arsenal game, obviously, there was a lot of shots against us, but again, we took the chances when they came along, and they're victories that are on the table, and no one can deny that. So, all in all, a good league position, but plenty of injuries now, which is a little bit worrying just coming into this new year.
In terms of the cups, though, not as pleasant, and got knocked out by Liverpool in the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, that wasn't the best of performances. Moyes decided to rest the players for that game. Obviously, they know a lot more than what we do in terms of what the state of the players' fitness are, and you can see whether or not the injuries are down to tiredness or not. The Paquetá injury, the Bowen injury, and the Antonio injury. All our front players, whether that's down to tiredness or not, only the club will know that. So probably he was trying to, I'm trying to look into the mind of Moyes, that is, he was trying to keep the players getting these serious injuries, but unfortunately they have. They could have been just bad luck that they've got injuries like this, or it could have been a tiredness thing.
Were you okay with the lineup? When you seen the team, then obviously the performance that followed in our elimination from the tournament. Were you on the side of I get it, or were you on the side of disappointment?
I was on the side of disappointment, but I was also on the side of it must hit. Only he knows, and the backroom staff, what state the players are in. So in that, you have to trust the management. But it's only a disappointment from a fan kind of view because we're at that stage of the competition. And just watching Fulham last night, how good a game they gave Liverpool. I think that Fulham and West Ham are sort of comparable in player-wise, and probably West Ham's league position says they're a little bit better. And with the front three, we could have given them a little bit more of a game. And maybe it wasn't what Liverpool wanted at the time. They was in the middle of 2 tough fixtures at the end of the weeks. The start and the end of the week. And it was a good time to maybe have played them. But look, it's gone. So we got to get on with the league and the FA Cup coming up as well, the replay.
Whoa. Did you know we sell signed copies of Tony Gale's autobiography? Well, you do now. There's the proof. He's signed every single one that we've got. I was meant to promote it during the video, but didn't want to interrupt Tony, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to record my own little bit and interrupt you instead. Oh, hang on a minute, I've got a text from a subscriber. How do you buy a signed Tony Gale autobiography? Well, it's quite easy, actually. If you go to hammerschatstore.com, they're there. I'll even put a link to Tony Gale's signed autobiography on the Hammerschat store in the description below and the pinned comment. So if you want to grab one, you can do, because do you know what? We sell signed copies of Tony Gale's autobiography. Yeah, I was about to say, one thing that isn't gone yet is the FA Cup. However, it's we're not through either. What did you make of that performance against Bristol City?
Well, it's I've got to be honest, I was on a cruise, Gio. So I was reliant on other people watching that game. I think that's the only game I've missed this season. We couldn't get it on the stream, on the cruise.
Lucky you.
Well, it was a game that you thought we'd win, But Bristol City have had some good performances this season. You know, I'm a big follower of the Championship, and they've had some good performances. They won 4-1 away at Watford recently as well. I thought it was always going to be a tougher game than everyone thought. And with 9,000 fans coming down there, big travelling contingent, it obviously, you know, took their game levels up another little notch. And again, injuries, both before the game and during the game, meant that it was a difficult game. And it's certainly going to be a difficult one in the replay because the injury count is such that I think we're going to have to get some players in desperately.
Yeah, I think the injuries, I was more disappointed by the injuries than the actual result, if that makes sense, which isn't usually, I think usually the result is what dictates your mood after a game. But on this occasion, because we'd lost Paqueta or Paqueta, as you and Gonza call him, we lost Jared Bowen, we lost Mavropanos as well. So we lost 3 key players during the game. And as we know, Kudus is still away, Aguerd's still away. And you come away from thinking, we've still got a chance. We're not out there FA Cup. We can still win on Tuesday. But long term, we're now missing these players for a significant portion of time. Now, the reports are a little bit contradictory as to how long they're out for. But it does feel like for the next few weeks at least, we're not going to have any of our front four. And I'll be honest with you, Tony, I'm dreading the next month. I think the entertainment factor, I think, is already pretty low with them in the team. So removing the players with the flair, with the X factor, I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah, I think we should be concerned, and I'm sure the club are as well, Moyes and his backroom staff. But if anybody can get performances to attain results with a lower level of team, then I do believe it's Moyes, because of the way that we play, that he'll put a team out that's very, very difficult to beat. I mean, for instance, the game against Brighton, we drew against Brighton. Brighton had a lot of the play, but at the end of the evening or afternoon, whatever it was a good point because Brighton were in that position that they were in and around us. And it was a good point with the team that we had out on the day. But I think you're right in saying I can't envisage the lineup at the moment. They'll know more than us. Is Jared Bowen closer to fitness than what they're saying? Is someone else closer to fitness? But you're having a look around and you're thinking, well, Ben Rama, who they may have sold during this window, they might have to keep now. Fornals, who hasn't been in great form, he'll be having to play quite regular during this time while the injuries are out there. And Mbama, who hasn't really, I know he's a young striker, but since he's come in, it's been very difficult for him. And I understand that as well. And also Danny Ings, another player who we may have sold in this transfer window with reported interest from Crystal Palace and Wolves. He's going to have to be in and around the team. And Danny hasn't had much game time either. So it's one of those ones where Moyes is going to have to put a team out and formation that's trying to get results. It's a difficult one for him. But this is where managers come into their own. And Moyes, we have to say, in the last 2 or 3 years, has been excellent at getting results when he's had weakened sides out.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And my sort of comfort blanket, if you like, is the defensively, our defence can look like Soufal, Mavropanos, Zuma, Emerson. They're still there. The keepers are fine. The midfield will still be there in Moyes' first choice midfield. It's just the attack. It's the entire attack we're missing, but it's just the attack. And I'm trying to look on the positive side of it. That's a fantastic opportunity for Mbama. I've not been blown away yet. I don't think he's ready, but I never expected him to be ready. A 19-year-old coming into the Premier League, he's not going. Declan Rice wasn't ready when he came into the team. We had to allow him to learn on the job, and I think it presents a good opportunity for Mbama actually, where he's maybe got 2 or 3 games where he's almost guaranteed a minimum of half an hour if he comes off the bench to replace Danny Ings, and I think that's a wonderful sort of opportunity for him to grab, and I hope he does. I'm not saying I'm confident he will, but this is what you do as a youngster. Surely you wait for your chance, and you need sometimes you do need injuries or suspensions to come your way in order to get into the team, and it's up to you to keep it. As someone who did it the hard way, Tony, what are you making of Mbama so far? You reckoning he can make it at West Ham?
I think it's been a difficult start for him. I think it's really hard to gauge. All I know is that when I speak to the likes of Kenny Brown, Mark Robson, Kevin Keane, and who I see at the games regular, they say the kid's got a chance. So, you know, I'll go with what they say. I think he's yet to sign a new contract. I think his contract's up to the season. So he's playing for a contract as well. Although if he does go, he'll probably go to a decent side, maybe at Championship level, League One level, just to start off or kickstart a career that he hopes it's going to go on a long time. But I think it may result, Gio, if you have maybe Danny who's not been playing a lot of games and Mubamba's been not playing a lot of games, that Moyes might even change the system. He may go 3-5-2. So that makes it a lot of players solid at the back with that midfield area you spoke about. Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Souček as well. That's quite strong. And he may play the two of them. You don't know. He may go, oh, well, hold on. Neither one of these boys are quite good enough to play the lone striking role, but could they help each other as an attacking pairing? So there is that option as well, because that helps players, I think. If they're not quite up to the... Danny's never really hit his straps playing as a lone striker. I think where Danny made his name at Southampton in particular, he was playing with a striker as well. They were playing in a 4-4-2 formation. Danny was playing with someone up front. So I think he's undoubtedly better than that. And I think it would help Mubama as well. So there's other options for Moyes to look at.
Well, speaking of David Moyes, and his contract himself is still up in the air. A lot of debate among West Ham fans. Should we renew it? Should we let him go at the end of the season? Some want him sacked today. Where are you, Tony, as a West Ham fan? What's your stance on David Moyes?
Well, I think he's done a good job. I really do. I think that we can't argue we got a trophy in the cabinet. We can't argue we're still in the Europa Cup, still in the FA Cup as well. And what you cannot definitely argue about is that we stand 6th in the league. So how much better are you going to get? I think what is key, if Moyes stays and he signs that contract, is the signing of the players. And the director of football had a great transfer window last time, bringing the players in that we bought in for Declan. So if Moyes gets the players, then it drags the manager and the players along to play in a style that they have to play in, because you're getting better standards of players. Maybe David's thinking, I've got to play like this because the players ain't quite good enough to play the other way. But now that front three has clicked, although we talked about they're all injured, that front three have clicked. All of a sudden, if you add a little bit more invention in midfield, you get a more attacking right back, for instance, in that 4 at the back formation, then all of a sudden you're looking, oh, blimey, we're a team here. So I think you have to be careful what you wish for. Everybody's saying, Moyes is not playing like this, Moyes is not playing like that. But you go and get another manager, and we've seen it before, particularly at our club, when we changed it and brought Moyes back. We've seen it before, and we've got in a little bit of a mess. And if you have a bad window or two, it takes a lot of time to readjust to that, because not only you got to get better players back in, you've got to get the ones out that you've signed in a bad window. So the last window was good, and we have to say Moyes, along with the director of football, has probably been instrumental in that. Let's hope the next window, although I can't see many signings in this January one happening, is just as good. Although the interest in Bergwijn is a good one, I think. Another Ajax player. So there's a link with the Ajax stuff, isn't there? With Kudus, with Alvarez, with Bergwijn. There's clearly a link with someone at the football club with Ajax. And if you consider that Manchester United signed Anthony from Ajax, he hasn't been very good, is he? So someone knows what they're talking about at the club to sign the two that we have already, and maybe another one. Bergwijn I've seen in Champions League football. I've seen in Europa Cup football, which I've covered. And he's decent. He just didn't have the best of times as previously.
Is that so? He's a big yes from you then. If we signed him, you'd be excited.
Well, I'd be excited because we haven't got anything at the moment, have we, Gio? We haven't got anything. We need someone in. He's experienced. He's been in the Premier League before. He could be like Kudus. He's a robust player. So he's going to be used to the Premier League. And with signing players, they have to hit the floor running. You can't go, he's got to take his time. He's got to readjust to the Premier League. He's got to do this, got to do that. No, Bergwijn's been in the Premier League, and he's an experienced player. And we see now robust Kudus is as well. He's been excellent, hasn't he? So let's hope that we need someone. We've got to bring someone in.
The one player that did leave though so far, there might be more, like you said, with Said Benrahma, was Thilo Kehrer. What's your thoughts on him departing the club?
Well, I think he was surplus, wasn't he? If you look at the right back situation with Kofau and Ben Johnson, he wasn't really an improvement on what we already had. So he played the centre back role a couple of times, but he was kind of betwixt and between, wasn't he? And if we get our money back for him, then it's okay, because reportedly he's gone on loan with a view to a £10 million transfer. That's money back, and if you make a mistake and if you get your money back, you've done well.
Yeah, in terms of players, in obviously you spoke about Bergwijn. Is there anyone else you'd fancy seeing West Ham make a move for?
Oh, loads. There's a loads about, isn't there? But it's the January window's a nightmare. I've just been watching TV this morning, and Newcastle are in trouble for players. Liverpool last night, watching Liverpool, they had a load of kids on the bench. Everybody wants players at the moment. It's so difficult. But it's not a Premier League thing. You've got to look scouring the world, and there's a bit of rest time coming up. I know the players have been moaning about fixture congestion, but there is that little bit of rest time. That's why it was annoying with Bristol City that we didn't put it to bed. Got that little bit more rest time in and rested the players up, because people like Zuma seemingly can't play 2 games in a week. So that was a result that I think we might rue, actually, because it's not a game that we don't need, but we didn't need that extra fixture.
Yeah, so just to summarise you then, if I can, and correct me if I'm wrong, happy with the league. You seem optimistic about the FA Cup. You seem quite optimistic we'll be all right. We'll miss the attacking players, but you feel reasonably confident that Moyes will conjure up some form of plan. We might not like it, we might not enjoy it, but you'll come up with something effective, which takes away from what we're missing up the other end of the park. You're happy with the job Moyes is doing, but we need to sign some bloody players in the January transfer window.
Yeah, I do. I think we got to keep improving, and that's the key to it. Because not only have we got to sign some new players, but we got to keep hold of existing players, because the front three in particular are playing so well that people are going to want Jared Bowen. Everybody's going to want Bowen. Everybody's going to want Paquetá. We've already seen the interest from Manchester City, and Kudus, although he's just come in for us, you say, oh, he's just come in. There's going to be teams after him, so we got to keep the existing players. First and foremost, Alcaraz as well, James Ward-Prowse, they've done well. Keep the existing players and improve the squad. Get some better players in. And I think not just the squad, to go in the team. Because the Aguerd situation confuses me. I think he's our best centre-back, yet we seemingly don't want him, and he's looking like Saudi Arabia or wherever. But I actually think he's our best centre-back. I know he's away at the moment, but he's our best centre-back. So that one confuses me slightly, because we got to keep hold of our better players.
Do you not think he's a bit injury prone, or someone that perhaps doesn't suit the way that we play in regards to how much defending we have to do? I always think of a guy would be better at a club like Liverpool, who have more of the ball, because his passing's superb. I think his passing is excellent. And I think sometimes when he's under the cosh for 90 minutes, I feel, as a fan, like there's almost an error guaranteed to come from him, where I don't feel that with Kurt Zouma, for example. But Zouma requires us to play on the edge of our box because of his lack of pace, and he can't run, can he? Let's be honest, Zouma can't really run particularly well. So with Aguerd, I always think he's perhaps a really good centre-back, but just not suited to the amount of defending that we're required to do.
Well, from what I hear about Kurt, he's a bit of a freak of nature. He's a bit like Paul McGrath, because he doesn't really train a lot, because of you can see the way he runs, the kind of his knees don't look in the best of condition. But when he does play, it doesn't really get done, does he? Positionally, he's very good. I mean, I wasn't quick. Alvin Martin wasn't quick, but very rarely did we get done for pace, because we could read the game, and we probably defended a little bit deeper, as you were saying about the current team. But again, I have to disagree, because being a centre-back, I think he's got all the attributes to kick on. I think he's, more importantly, Gio, he's left-sided. And we haven't really got left-sided defenders, central defenders. If you think Mavropanos is right-footed, Zuma's right-footed, Ogbonna's gonna maybe, it's probably his last season. He's done really well for us, but it's his last season. So we need to keep our left-sided balance. And when Aguerd plays, and Emerson plays, and Paquetá plays, you've got that little triangle on that left-hand side. And the left-hand side for me was working really well. It's such a shame that Bakatar's out because it kind of stifles Emerson getting forward. And if Emerson gets forward, you need a little bit of pace on that side to cover the gap where he has gone forward. And that's where Aguerd comes into it for me. I think he's got a great spring. I see him marking at set pieces. He gets off the floor. He's quite, easily, you have a look at him, the way he gets off the floor, he's got the best spring out of all the lads. Admittedly, like you say, he makes the odd error, but then he's the one who tries to pass. So he will make an error or two rather than the other ones who play the safety kind of game. I'm a fan. I know that a lot of the fans are not a fan of him, but I'm a fan of Aguerd, and I think it's a little bit of a mystery for me why we're looking to sell.
Yeah. Anyway, Tony, thank you very much. I appreciate, as always, giving up your time to come for a chit chat with me. Hopefully, we can catch up at the end of the season and be celebrating a bit of success somewhere for West Ham, whether that's the FA Cup, the Europa League, qualifying for Europe via the league position. We've got the 3 avenues. One of them will do. Any one of them, I'm happy with, Tony. But thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, look forward to the season, the rest of it anyway, and let's get behind the lads and Moyes as well. Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Gio.
If you guys have enjoyed this video at home, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up, subscribe to Ham's Chat, and not Tony, he'll catch you at the end of the season, but I'll catch you later.